Lillard, long range three. Beautiful morning. Get a sun,
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 59 of CO Sports Talk here. Sorry for the late upload. Just junior and high school things. But yeah, we're back to talk about Sweet 16, Elite Eight, March Madness. We have our Final Four set and the U.S. men's national team. So it's going to be a pretty short episode, but it's going to be a good one. I mean, we got good content.
Fact. The Final Four, after all the upsets we saw this entire tournament, the Final Four ends with like a very chalky, well, although UNC's an 8, but you would expect it to be a very chalky if you told us the 4 schools because they're all very, blue bloods and on Villanova debatable, but very good programs historically.
Yeah, 4 powerhouse programs. We'll get into that, but it did not end. I mean, I would say it's a pretty mid March Madness. It was a good one, but
there's no buzzer beaters.
Yeah, there wasn't any buzzer beaters. There was
I have a feeling we're gonna see one of the 2 Final Fours have a really good game. Like, I don't know, one maybe in the championship, because remember last time we saw 2 blue bloods in the championship, that Villanova UNC game was unreal.
But we've had some good overtime games, but we haven't had a buzzer beater, which is kind of annoying. I feel like there's usually one every year, so we'll see. But yeah, I think it's gonna be 2 good games. So yeah, let's get into that. A quick recap of each game in the previous 2 rounds, Elite 8 and Sweet 16. This is not in order, but we'll do it anyway. It doesn't really matter, I believe. Yeah. So starting off on Thursday, March 24th, Arkansas beat Gonzaga. Gonzaga was kind of shaky all tournament, and they fall to another pretty shaky in the tournament team in Arkansas. But yeah, Arkansas gets the best of them. Gonzaga just didn't look too good this game.
Yeah, I mean, this was somewhat surprising, but at the same time, it was somewhat predictable. Yeah. I had a feeling Gonzaga was going to choke. I got 7 of 8 Elite 8 wrong, but the one thing I can say is I knew Gonzaga wasn't going to make the championship at least. But Arkansas, they played well. I mean, that team, we're pretending we haven't seen the Sunday game yet or the Saturday game yet. Arkansas looked pretty solid. Jalen Williams, really solid player, and then ultimately they just kind of shut down Gonzaga. Drew Timme was good. However, Chet Holmgren got in foul trouble, and that really messed Gonzaga up. So yeah, Arkansas, man, with the big win. We've seen 1 seeds go down time after time, and we saw it again here. But this is the number 1 overall seed, so this was a big deal. First game of the Sweet 16 too in San Francisco.
Right, and it definitely wasn't the only 1 seed to lose in the Sweet 16 or earlier in this tournament. A lot of 1 seeds have gone down. Speaking of, Arizona loses pretty handedly to Houston, and Houston kind of, besides those kind of late turnovers, which Arizona almost got back in the game, they pretty much dominated this ball game. On the back of Jamal Shed, he had some big time shots, and Benedict Mathurin never really got it going. He started 0 for 6 shooting, and he never got in his groove, and I think that was crucial for this Arizona team. But I thought this Houston team was underrated, and they proved it.
Yeah, my winner pick got out. I think I'm done picking Arizona, but Dalen Terry was the best player in U of A. However, as you said, Mathurin was kind of quiet, and this game was almost like a home game for Houston, as it was in San Antonio, in Texas, and they were up the whole time. At the very end, thought maybe it was going to get closer. However, there was a key turnover that U of A had, and Houston pulled away with a huge 3. Jamal Sheed was big, and U of H was a really solid team in this tournament.
Yeah,
and, I think 2 years in a row they've had big runs.
I think they're kind of a sleeper team. Every year they were a little bit underseeded here. And then Villanova takes care of Michigan. This game is pretty close throughout. 3-point game at halftime, ended an 8-point game, but Jalen Samuels really dominated. Colin Gillespie, the star for Villanova, just like Mathurin, never really got it going, but hit some clutch shots down the stretch and really propelled this Villanova team to the win. Hunter Dickinson, big game, did not shoot very well efficiency-wise, but put up points and obviously had a ton of rebounds. But, go for this Michigan team to make a run.
Yeah, double-double Hunter Dickinson. As you said, great job in Michigan. They made it 2 games farther than many people thought. definitely one game farther than everyone thought. Question for Villanova will be, you see their leading scorer. He's out for the rest of the season, last 2 games.
Yeah,
How's Villanova going to respond? But
yeah, Justin Moore suffered a torn Achilles, so that's gonna be tough for Villanova. And it's a really deep team. Every guy on that team can make an impact. They're all super fundamental. They all, like I saw this video of them practicing. It's just they're all just every time they stop, they do jump stops. They play off 2 feet. It's just a really well coached team by Coach Jay Wright. So I don't see that being a huge issue. But obviously, prayers up to Justin Moore.
yeah, in the last 6 years, I mean, that's how I kind of like to look at sports since 2014 on. If you look at teams in college basketball that end up winning, Villanova is the only one that's won twice. I mean, we've seen a UNC win, we've seen a Duke win in 2015. We saw Virginia win recently. And last year we obviously saw the Baylor win. But Villanova, if the 2018 and 2016 teams wins, that's what recently they're definitely a blue blood. I mean, Kansas, who's considered a blue blood, hasn't won since 2008. And Kentucky just with Anthony Davis in that, I think, 2012 year. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated dynasty when it comes to college basketball. Jay Wright has done a fantastic job.
And Gillespie was on that team his freshman year, and now he's a fifth-year player.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Archie Diacono's little brother is on the team. And moving on to Texas Tech Duke, and in a pretty common upset, Texas Tech was picked a lot, and I like their defense, but Duke exploded for almost 50 in the second half in a relatively high-scoring game in Texas Tech standards. I did like this Texas Tech team. Kevin O'Banner was a beast, but in the end, Paulo Banchero, Mark Williams was good. Duke took care of him. And chasing.
Yeah, dude. Duke's legit. I mean, Banchero's really showing out. Obviously, I talk about it all the time. That freshman star team from Duke, they couldn't get past the spot that Banchero just did. I mean, Banchero's not worried about the big stage right now. He's playing really well. But what ultimately is helping Duke, obviously, they have another freshman, AJ Griffin, but then they have some senior leadership. Mark Williams, he's a sophomore, so not too old, but at least he's not a freshman. But then what I think really helps this team is just they have some grad transfers. Theo John was at Marquette for years. Obviously, he's not doing too much on the floor, but maybe just in the locker room. Theo John's a big glue guy. And then guys like, Joey Baker, who I feel really bad for because Joey Baker used to get tons of minutes. He doesn't get too many minutes anymore, but yeah.
Yeah.
Coach K's, I think this was his 100th win in the tournament.
Jeez, that's crazy. And yeah, I mean, this is a Duke team. A lot of people thought was going to get upset early, including me. I thought they were going to lose to Davidson. Obviously, Davidson didn't make out the first round, but this is a Duke team that, I mean, me and you both got picked to upset. But this Paulo Banchero, I think, in my eyes, we'll do mock drafts when it comes closer to June.
I would take him over Chet.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think he's leapfrog Chet in my eyes. I think it goes Jabari, Paulo, and then Chet, just because Chet did not have a very good tournament. He played.
Yeah, and I just Banchero seems so much less of a whole working progress. Like Chet can be good, but I mean he's obviously not very big muscle wise. Banchero is a whole man compared to Chet. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Chet obviously sky's the limit for that kid, especially he gets on those NBA meal plans. I mean, I saw something that said him and Zion, you just switched meals, which is it's just messed up. Yeah, I mean, I think Banchero has proved himself as the second overall pick. Moving on to Friday, Kansas Providence. This game was way closer than I thought, but man, Remy Martin continues to dominate for these Jayhawks. I mean, he's been the X factor for this team, and the reason why they're in the Final Four. So, yeah, this is a game I said Kansas was going to win by 15 plus. It ended up being a 5-point game. So shout out Providence for that. But Remy Martin and Jayhawks take care of business.
Shout out Remy Martin, man. The gift that keeps on giving. This guy, I think he's like a 6th or 5th year senior. I watched him all throughout middle school when he was at Arizona State. And now I'm a junior in high school, and he's still somehow in college, and he's playing for Kansas. And this is what makes teams go far in the tournament. Senior leadership, old guys like this, because, I mean, this is helping Kansas a lot. And Kansas is blue blood, but over the years, they've had some upperclassmen. I was telling Oliver about this. I mean, they're not always just the one and dones. Like that Frank Mason, Devontae Graham team, Perry Ellis they had a long time ago. So this team, no joke, I think Bill Self, I mean, I'll get to it later, but I think maybe we'll see them in the finals for the first time in a minute.
Yeah, facts. I feel like they haven't been this good since like 2015.
Well, that Frank Mason Graham team was so good, but they
That's
just got
correct.
unlucky in that Final Four, losing a really good Villanova team.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. And then speaking of the gift that keeps on giving, St. Peter's picked up another W against 3 seed Purdue. I mean, the story of St. Peter's was just phenomenal this tournament. 15 seed making it to the Elite Eight after this Sweet 16 win over a powerhouse team who spent time as the #1 team in the country for a few weeks before losing, or for like a few days actually, before losing to Rutgers and in Purdue. So just a really impressive win by St. Peter's and just a great story.
Yeah, man, unreal. Like we got a roll a clip of us talking about it literally a week ago. And Purdue St. Peter's, like, why am I not picking St. Peter's? Like I need
I
to
know,
think that to
but
myself. I made the mistake twice now.
it's super hard too as well.
I gotta go for Purdue just better. Like, what am I doing? I'm gonna be rooting for St. Peter's so hard. Like it's crazy. We were saying like it's gonna happen, but we just didn't have the balls to pick them, and it actually happened.
Right.
If they ended up winning Sunday, I would be picking them in a Final Four because I can't pick against them anymore. But the luck ran out. We'll get to that. But I mean, St. Peter's just kept finding a way. Eder had the clutch free throws at the end, but Clarence Rupert, I mean, no one really scored that much on their team, but they're just a good overall team and a really well coached team. And Purdue, man, they must be frustrated because Purdue's choked a lot. I mean, we saw them lose in North Texas, but then we've also seen them have runs like with Carson Edwards. This is their by far the easiest chance they're going to have to make the Final Four in a long time. They could have easily made it. I mean, all they had to do is beat St. Peter's in an 8 seed. They'd be in the Final Four, and Denver Duke would be a really good matchup. With this team with Ivy and Edie, oh man, they're going to be shaking their heads about this for years.
Yeah, and Travion Williams. I mean, yeah, Ivy had that really nice three at the end, but yeah, Purdue just can. I mean, a lot of people were down on them, and this wasn't their year. I mean, like you said, their path was pretty easy if they could get past the 15 seed, but they couldn't. And shout out St. Peter's for that.
Shout out Jared Wilburn.
Yeah, Jared Wilburn, man, great player. North Carolina on the back of Caleb Love, who just exploded. It looked like he couldn't miss a three. Was shooting from all over. Was shooting all the way from Chapel Hill out here, man. I mean, the dude was on fire. Exploded for 30 points. And these Tar Heels are headed to the Elite Eight after this one. We'll get into their Elite Eight game after this. But
this UNC team's really good. They have Caleb Love, obviously. And then they obviously have Leaky Black, and then obviously Brady Manick, who gives you that leadership and is a really terrific player himself. But man, rip the Pac-12, rip the West Coast, rip the Big Three. I'm a miss Tiger Campbell, Juzang, and Hawkes. They came back to try to get redemption. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. The leading scorer of this game wasn't any of them. It was actually Jules Bernard. But
they got a break. They got
it's tough, man. UCLA, yeah.
They got Peyton Watson, who's a freshman this year. He played well. And they have obviously the #2 overall recruit in Amari Bailey from Sierra Canyon headed over next year. So this UCLA team ain't done, but yeah.
And they have a really good coach in Mick Cronin.
Right. But it's sad to see that Big Three kind of.
Also for UNC, people forget about Armando Bacot. He's been terrific this tournament.
Yeah, he's a monster on those boards. And he was really pivotal in the Elite Eight game, which we'll get into soon. And then the most boring was Miami, Iowa State. Miami just handle business. Cam and Gusty.
Those three guards that were really good for Miami all tournament. I mean, I thought they were going to be in the Final Four for a minute, but Charlie Moore, McGusty, and Isaiah Wong are all three really good players. Well-coached team too.
Exactly. Elite Eight, Houston, Villanova. This was a pretty good game, but Villanova took care of business. Just Houston couldn't quite handle this team, and Jalen Samuels went off again. 16 points, 10 rebounds, double-double for him.
Yeah, this was a good game. The Elite Eight is just one of my favorite rounds to watch because that's when it's officially official. You're the only game going on at once. You're on national TV. Everybody is watching you in those big NBA stadiums. And Villanova took care of business. I think they're just a bit better coached. Houston, no great run. This was a very defensive game, lowest scoring Elite Eight we've seen in a long time. But Villanova just was in control and ultimately pulled away at the end. The injury, at the end was the only down part for Villanova.
Yeah, exactly. Losing Justin Moore is tough. And then the battle of the projected first round big men, and Mark Williams and Jalen Williams, the two Williams, go at it, and both had monster games, both had double doubles. But I think ultimately Mark Williams got the best of him because Mark Williams was just a monster. Although Jalen had more points, but yeah, Duke just looked really good. Arkansas couldn't really handle them, especially in that first half. And after that first half, it was kind of just easy from there. Ended up winning by 9 points. But this Duke team looks really, really good. They just look like everyone on the team can score. I mean, just think about, and they do have a little bit of experience in Wendell Moore. That's pretty much all they have. So,
Yep.
but other than that, Mark Williams is a sophomore. Then you got Griffin and Bankero, freshman. Not
Jeremy
sure
Roach.
So you also have
Theo John's the one that's really old. He's like 28.
Theo John is so old.
He's 23.
But yeah, Trevor Keels, another starter, another freshman. But they're playing well. I think this team is arguably better than that Zion team. I don't know if that's a hot take.
I mean, I think maybe, dude. Like all year, I really doubted this Duke team just because they had some weird losses. Like they lost to Ohio State preseason, and then they lost in Miami in the season. Then they lost to UNC in the final regular season game. And I was like, okay, no way this team's making a big tournament dive, just because that loss really put me apart. But they're really thriving. I think they are, because remember that Duke team almost lost in a round of 32. They could have easily lost to UCF. So I think you're right, Oliver. I mean, Bankero's thriving. Griffin had an unreal game, 18 points. Moore, Williams, and Roach all playing well. I mean, they're really a 7-man team because Baker's out of there. But yeah, man, and don't forget Michael Savarino on the bench. But Coach K's grandson. But yeah, Arkansas, they could not shoot at all. Only 4 for 30 on threes, and it felt like every single time it was just the exact same play to Jalen Williams to try to get him a layup, and eventually it just did not work. So yeah, not Arkansas's finest, but they had a good run. And really, I mean, as much as I'm not the biggest Coach K guy, I mean, it's his last dance and he's made it to the Final Four. Pretty cool. But
I found myself low key rooting for Duke at this point. Duke or Kansas, because I think it'd be cool for Coach K to go on top.
it would, but also it would be great for Coach K haters to see him lose in the championship at his last try.
Yeah, for
Or
Coach
to
K
UNC.
haters, Coach K haters like yourself, it'd be perfect. Moving on to Sunday, last set of games. Kansas, they were down at half. Miami, I was like, oh my gosh, Miami can go to the Final Four, and they completely obliterated Kansas second half. Obliterated Miami second half. Miami only scoring 15 points in that second half to Kansas's 47, looking like that first half of the Texas Southern score. I mean, that just Kansas completely shifted. I don't know what Bill Self said in the locker room, but oh my goodness.
I think Bill Self proved that he is probably one of the best coaches right now. Young coaches for sure. Like he's a different generation. I would much rather have him than Calipari. I mean, take Coach Cal's recruiting, but I think Bill Self's a better coach himself, just due to the fact that they were down at halftime. The adjustments they made. I mean, McCormack was great. Agbaji, really good player. Christian Braun, another really good player for this team. And then Mitch Lightfoot, I think he's like an 8th year senior. Off the bench. He's 24 years old, born in 1997, playing with 18-year-olds. He also good leadership for this KU team. But yeah, man, Miami was up at halftime, and I was like, we're gonna see him in the Final Four, and they just choked so hard. They had like 8 points in the second half.
Yeah, I know, it was crazy. Agbaji, future lottery pick, I think, if not top 20. And then Christian Braun will probably go around the second round. So 2 guys that
And Agbaji's a senior too.
Yeah, I know. He's not a one and done player.
I think we're starting to see a little shift in college basketball where the last few years we've seen more seniors and sophomores go in the lottery. And like 2016, like Lonzo Ball, Markelle Fultz, that was prime one and done age in college basketball. So I'm glad that we're starting to see guys stay and getting rewarded for that.
I think the reason for that is because teams are like, if we want to win now, we need a guy who's more NBA ready and not someone who's a project and we be NBA ready in 3 years. So I think that's kind of what the Pacers did with Chris Duarte. They're like, okay, he's 24, but he'll provide an instant impact, in which he has. He's been one of the better rookies this year. And obviously the Pacers aren't going anywhere, but it's nice to have someone on your team who's automatically, going to be ready for that competition. And so, yeah, I think that's definitely been a factor. And I think it's going to continue to happen with Ochai Agbaji and his draft stock. I think he's definitely gonna be a lottery pick at this point.
And
and
it's
especially the way he's playing.
good for NBA, and it's even better for college basketball because it makes seniors able to stay, and it's not just some one and done show. So it's good for
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, and it's better for schools who are better academically, I think, too, because now guys can stay and get their degree. And because let's say if you had an offer from uh Kentucky and an offer from Stanford, you're gonna go to Kentucky just because you have a better chance of making the league. And now if you can get drafted, more teams are looking at you after 4 years. You can, stay at Stanford and get your degree and then go to the league. So
I mean, I would still go to Kentucky because I'm not trying to play under Jared Haas and be on the bubble and choke every single year. But yeah.
yeah, true. But yeah, I mean, guys like Zaire Williams last year went one and done Stanford. Harrison Ingram probably will do that this year. But yeah, anyway, that's besides the point. Going back, St. Peter's finally Cinderella season was ended at the hands of North Carolina. They could not handle Armando Bacot at all. And Defo played pretty well. I think he'll enter the transfer portal and be one of the guys.
Like O'Banner.
I think he's gonna be like O'Banner and kind of be one of those guys who's sought after because he's shown his shot blocking ability. He played against one of the best big men in the league, and obviously he let up 20 points and 22 rebounds, but that wasn't all him. I mean, he kind of held his own for the most part, blocked a lot of shots. And
no one else on this team's probably NBA or anything. I mean, a lot of them are just college players, which is fine, which makes college basketball so special. Like Doug Edert didn't even start, but Clarence Rupert, like none of those guys are really NBA guys. But they had a great run, an amazing run, best run we've ever seen. And like, you know how when they beat Kentucky or when they beat Purdue, everyone's like 9 out of 10 times Kentucky Purdue would win. This was the 9 out of 10 times they got exposed by UNC.
Right.
And this was the 9 out of 10 times. It's almost like you wish it didn't go out like this. But 3 amazing games for St. Peter's, and just what makes March Madness great is what happened to St. Peter's.
Right. This looked like St. Peter's finally, showing their true colors, but it doesn't take away from how great this run was. And it's just really, really cool to see, the people who commit to teams like Carolina, Duke, Purdue are all 5 and 4 stars. And then you have St. Peter's. I doubt any of those dudes were ranked out of high school. I really highly doubt that. So
maybe 2 stars or something.
Yeah, maybe like a 2-star, but it's just really cool to see them handle their own against these big time recruits.
Yeah, it is. And for UNC though, really, they're like probably the hottest team in college basketball right now. I mean, besides that Baylor slip up where they still won. I mean, Baylor's a 1 seed. They haven't shown any, signs of defeat. I mean, that Marquette win. Besides that, ever since that Virginia Tech loss in the ACC tournament, they've been hot as heck. So good for them.
Yeah, for real. Which sets up a Final Four of Villanova versus Kansas and UNC versus Duke. Quickly, we can do, little predictions here. So for Villanova, Kansas, this is tough for me. Here's Gamecast. Kansas is favored by 4.5.
Rematch of that 2016 March Madness Elite Eight and the 2018 Final Four.
Yeah.
This is tough, man. I mean, I like Kansas personally. I just think, that's tough though. Like they both have the leadership, they both have the young talent, and they both are really well coached. I think this game is going to be a close one for sure.
This is really, really tough. I'm going to go Kansas by like 2 points. It's going to be a really good game. I really like both these teams to go to the championship. I'm going to go Kansas, but I could see this game going both ways for sure.
Yeah, I like Kansas to win in overtime by 2. I like Villanova to cover the plus 4.5 for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, and then lastly, UNC Duke. Another game. These are impossible to predict. Like UNC, we obviously saw beat Duke. If you look at it won't be in the last 5. But they beat Duke in Coach K's final home game. But Carolina is just so hot, but so is Duke.
I mean, this is one for the ages. I don't know if we've ever seen UNC Duke in an NCAA tournament, not recently at least. Everyone dreams about a matchup like this. They've already played twice this year. I believe they split the series. It's going to be really good. I like UNC. I just think they're hotter right now. And although they're an 8 seed, I mean, they still have these 5-star, 4-star guys that compete while having a better a better older player than Duke has, but Brady Manick is better than Trevor Keels and Theo John. And I like UNC to win it. Right now, I think that Caleb Love, the guard play on UNC is better than the guard play on Duke. The big man play on Duke is better than the big man play on UNC, though.
That's arguable too.
Armando Bacot would argue that. So I like UNC. I actually think they're more complete. They just struggle. I mean, they have a first-year coach who's been amazing. He's definitely the guy. So shout out. I mean, Roy Williams' predecessor definitely chose the right guy. And Hubert Davis has done a terrific job. Definitely probably didn't expect to even go this far in his first year, but I think they can make the championship, and I think they'll play Kansas to battle Roy Williams' two schools.
Yeah. And I thought we were going to disagree here, but I actually was thinking North Carolina as well. I really like this Carolina team and the way they're playing. I wasn't high on them coming into the tournament. I remember initially we had Marquette beating them in the first round. I think you stuck with that, didn't you?
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, so I changed it, but I had them losing to Baylor, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, this team is just red hot. They're playing like I didn't realize how talented this team was. And if they're all playing their full potential, which they are right now, I think they can beat anyone in the country, and they proved that. Especially this Duke team. Like you said, I think they match up really, really well. Brady Manick is shooting the lights out. Crafty guards like Caleb Love and Leaky Black. And then Baycott is a monster right now. I think him and Mark Williams is the matchup to watch in this Final Four. Just two phenomenal bigs going at it. And
so who do you like to win a national championship on Monday?
I think I like Kansas over the Tar Heels.
I like it. Kansas winning for the first time since 2008.
Yeah. So me and Casey are completely.
No, I disagree. I like North Carolina to win it. I think
You're saying that, bro. You don't like to be.
No, I actually do. I like UNC. I think similarly like that Connecticut we team saw where they were a low seed. I think UNC is going to win it. I really do. I think when it comes down to the championship, UNC will beat Kansas. Just stop looking at their seed. This team is a 1 seed talent wise. They just struggled in the regular season. I think that UNC is going to win it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So we're in agreement besides the championship match, but I think when's the championship? Monday? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think we'll have an episode before the championship. Maybe we'll have a better idea. So yeah.
Or wait one, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that's what we got for March Madness. Really excited for this Final Four, although it's a little bit boring, but I think it'll still be some great games. I mean, they're really hard to predict. We could easily have nothing wrong out of those three guesses.
Ladies and gentlemen, world soccer is getting good as the World Cup draw is on Friday. So next time you see us, we will know the groups. So CONCACAF, the United States one, is in their second to last one. Tomorrow or Wednesday, it finishes off. And the United States played Mexico and had a tie 0-0. And for me, I was happy with this result. I don't know about you, Oliver, but I'll take a 0-0 tie in Mexico due to the fact that we beat them at home. So yeah, that's a W result.
In Azteca, I mean, I'll take a 0-0 tie 8 days of the week. I mean, I don't remember the last time we've won there. So it's a W in my books.
And then an even more W yesterday. I mean, roll the highlights. Christian Pulisic, 3 goals, 2 were pens. But that third goal, I think one of the greatest goals in U.S. M&T history. I mean, everyone's saying it online right now, the LeBron James of soccer. But man, Christian Pulisic just like putting the country on his back, just representing us. And I think we are officially in the World Cup unless we lose to Costa Rica 6-0. But even if we somehow do, it's not like we're not in. We're just in the intercontinental playoffs, so we'd have to play New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're pretty much chilling. But like you said, Pulisic's kind of bringing soccer back. I think soccer was at its peak in the 2014 World Cup in the U.S. I mean,
best World Cup ever, man.
So fun, dude. Like no one expected that team to do good. Casey was at that Ghana game. John Brooks header. Just we beat Germany, or did we? No, we lost to Germany. But
Portugal should have won.
Portugal advanced. I mean, we were in the group of death.
We were, and we advanced. Everyone said we won.
Germany, Portugal, Ghana, who historically had beaten us a lot.
And then we were looking to have another amazing World Cup. And then October of 2017, worst day of my life, loses to Trinidad and Tobago, nightmare. And man, I really just like have a feeling this would be even worse because it would have to be 6-0. So I don't want to say we're in yet, but it looks like our ticket to Qatar has been punched. Although it's not a Summer World Cup, it won't hit the same, but still, man, just really good. I think we can make the quarterfinals of the 2022 World Cup. This is the most excited I think U.S. fans have ever been for a team, just because we have a young star. And then I think 2026, that World Cup, that could be a win.
Yeah, I missed that 2014 team, to be honest. Clint Dempsey, Michael Bradley. It was a fun team.
But the thing is, those guys were all MLS players. Like at the time, Dempsey was with the Sounders. Michael Bradley, he was with Toronto. Christian Pulisic is a solid player on Chelsea.
Yeah, he plays well for Chelsea as well. So it's really cool. I mean, most of the team, I believe, is still MLS players, but it's starting.
But like McKennie's with Juventus, Adams is with Leipzig, I think. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of
starting to get more.
The MLS guys still are really solid players too.
Oh, they are.
Areola really impressed me.
Yeah, Areola, he gets a lot of hate, but and about that Trinidad and Tobago, I'll cue the Taylor Twellman clip.
Great clip.
Every single one of those players,
they can take some
nightmares for the rest of their lives, because this is an utter embarrassment with the amount of money that is in Major League Soccer and in this sport. You can't get a draw, a tie against Trinidad. Max, you don't deserve to go to the World Cup.
They certainly did. And people,
but yeah, and that was heartbreaking that we didn't. I mean, they barely have footage from that game. It's filmed like on potato. So, yeah. I mean, but we're finally gonna be back, and barring a miracle, we're back. I don't want to jinx anything, but it's really exciting. I love the World Cup. Top two sporting event, right behind the ones going on right now.
I think it's number one just because every 4 years, and then March Madness. Yeah,
that's fair.
But yeah, next time we talk, we'll know the national championship, maybe the national champion if we do it on Monday, and we will know the World Cup draw and 100% if we're in it or not, and we'll know the Miami Open winner. So we will see you guys next time in episode 60, where we're also going to do some MLB predictions. Oliver will be on spring break, so it's going to be good. And yeah, we're excited for that. So we'll see you next time. And sports are getting good, man. No football, all good. Sports are still good.
No problem. All right. See you guys. Peace.